Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. Really quickly, I just want to briefly touch upon the fact that a huge milestone has happened recently, and that milestone is for the first time in 17 years, a DC film is going to end the year more successful than any Marvel films. And I know, a lot of people are probably up in arms right now, like, oh, why are you shitting on Marvel, this, that, and the other thing? And I'm not. Look, I get it. It's easy to think that I'm doing that with this topic that I'm talking about, but just hear me out for a second, please. I love comic books. Growing up, I've read more than I could fathom. I've always been obsessed with Spider-Man. I've always been obsessed with Batman. I've always been obsessed with Superman. I've always loved the X-Men. I've read as many comics, watched as many cartoons as I possibly could. I love them all. Yes, my favorite is Batman, but my second favorite is Captain America. And then my third favorite is Wolverine. So majority in my top three, I like Marvel more than I like DC. But at the same time, I still love both DC and Marvel. And for the last 17 years, I've been watching these Marvel movies that would just take my breath away and blow my mind. And I loved phase 1, 2, and 3, with the exception of like Iron Man 3 I didn't really like, and Thor the Dark World I didn't really like, and I wasn't a huge fan of Doctor Strange. But outside of that, I've pretty much loved everything they've ever done. I loved the continuity between all the films. I loved the build up to them fighting Thanos in Avengers Endgame. But I was always kind of bummed that DC couldn't at least match that quality. Like, I couldn't go watch a Captain America Civil War, be blown away by how good it was, and then turn and go watch a Batman vs Superman that was equally as good. Now, there's a lot of fans of Batman vs Superman out there. I am one of them. I rather enjoyed that movie, especially the Ultimate Cut. But let's not be coy here. They're not successful. They're just not. The average audience does not like those films, which is why the universe got canceled. Yes, Batman vs Superman made $800 million, which is good, but a Batman vs Superman movie with Wonder Woman in it, three of some of the most iconic superheroes of all time, couldn't make $1 billion when we were getting movies like Captain Marvel that was mediocre at best making $1 billion. It's because people weren't gravitating towards the DC universe. Then a Justice League movie came out. Justice League. We had Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Steppenwolf, Darkseid, all these different characters, and it made less than a Batman versus Superman movie and was not that well received. Yeah, you had an Aquaman and a Wonder Woman that came out and made a good amount of money, but everything since then were on a decline. You had a Flash movie with Michael Keaton coming back after not being in a movie since 1992 as Batman, and that movie failed to make more than $200 million. Blue Beetle didn't make any money. Shazam 2 didn't make any money. Aquaman 2 made a quarter of what the first one made. It was on a decline and no one cared anymore. So they rebooted it. And although I've liked most of the movies DC has put out, it has not done well. And to sit back and watch this franchise of characters that you love get shit on by most of the entire world and know that they're not successful, we're not going to get a good universe that we get multiple Batman films, that we get multiple Superman films, that we get multiple Wonder Woman films, that we get multiple Justice Leagues, and that we get closure to all of them. Like, I saw the writing on the wall, and it's just a shame being a fan of DC and seeing how poorly it was doing. And for the longest time, I've just wanted to see them get their day. I always begged, please at least be as well received as Captain America Winter Soldier. Please, for the Justice League movie, be as well received as Avengers so we get a Justice League 2. And they weren't. And it's like being a sports fan and your favorite team just never makes it to the playoffs. And it's disappointing and it's a bummer. And I'm not sitting here saying I want Marvel to flounder and flop financially and not make any money and have the whole world hate it. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want Marvel to do good. I want both DC and Marvel to do good. I love them both. I am very excited for the X-Men film. I'm very excited for the Avengers films. Thunderbolts was one of my favorite movies the year that it came out. But I also take some happiness in the notion that Superman is the best, highest grossing superhero movie of this past year. I love Thunderbolts. I did not like Fantastic Four. I loved Superman. I didn't want Thunderbolts to fail financially, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. For the first time in 17 years as a fan of DC, it's nice to finally get a win and to just walk away going, finally, for the first time, Superman is the winner. He left the ring victorious. Whether you want to complain that the movie flopped because it didn't make $900 million or whatever, no matter what, it's the biggest received movie of the year in terms of comic book films. So the one thing you can't argue is that it's more successful than Marvel this year. And it just feels good. I'm glad that DC finally got a win, but I am ready for a day where both Marvel and DC can coexist side by side and both be financially, critically, and audience-wise successful. I want them to both thrive. And a lot of people think that that's a bad thing to have these two universes going, like it's going to take away from each other, but it doesn't. A rising tide raises all ships. If you go into a movie like Thunderbolts and it's amazing, it's only going to make you leave the theater going, wow, that was great. I can't wait to see the next superhero thing. If Thunderbolts sucked, it would have just made people like, that movie was awful. I don't really want to see Superman. It's just another comic book movie. Now, maybe not for the diehard comic book fans, but for the average everyday mom that doesn't really follow superheroes, but her kids are young and they like superheroes. And it's like, all right, I took them to see Thunderbolts and God, that was abysmal and the kids fell asleep. I'm just not going to take them to a superhero movie. But when you leave the theater, that mom that doesn't really know about superheroes with their kids, and they left on a sugar high and they were going crazy and they're in the, parking lot, replicating scenes that they saw in Thunderbolts, it's just going to make them want to go and see Superman. And then when you go and see Superman and you leave the theater and your kids were having a good time and they're in the parking lot with the towel around their neck and they're flying around pretending to be Superman, that mom's going to go, well, the next superhero movie that comes out, I'm going to take him to that one too because he seemed to really like it. And that is the general movie-going audience, not the comic book fans. And again, it's just a really good day to be a Superman fan, to be a superhero fan. I think that the success of Superman, the success of Thunderbolts, and the critical, I won't say financial success of Fantastic Four, but the critical and audience success of at least loving that movie is only going to bolster what Spider-Man, and don't get me wrong, Spider-Man was always going to make $1 billion, but it's going to make more now because people are riding a high from superhero films, and then Avengers Secret Wars and Doomsday is going to come out, and then those are going to make more, and then hopefully that makes Supergirl make more money, and then that'll make Wonder Woman make more money, and then we'll get a good X-Men movie, and that'll make more money, and then we'll get back on track. Comic book movies, I don't know if they're all going to be making billions of dollars like they were in their heyday, but at least have them successful enough that we just keep getting them, and that's my hope. But yes, guys, at the end of the day, I am happy that Superman finally has a win, but what do you guys think? Are you excited for superhero movies? Are you excited for DC finally having a win? Or are you just like, fuck you, you're a Marvel hater? Let's talk about it in the comments down below, and as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.